Hello, today I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks to how you can sample your kitchen. The first trick is use different tools to hit with, because all the different tools makes different sounds depending on what you're hitting. Hit with different velocities so you have multiple different sounds of each source. When you're sampling, then make sure that you're not gaining too loud. Try to sample as many different sounds as possible. For example, something deep and something high, and of course something in the middle. If you're trying to record something that is at a very low volume, then try to get as close with the microphone as possible. In that way you will minimize the noises from the environment. Be creative. When you don't think you can think of any more sources, then try to come up with 5 more. There are always 5 more sources. I'm gonna record with my RØDE NT2A, which I have modified with a Thiersch M7 capsule. But you can of course also use a Zoom recorder or simply your cell phone. And sometimes your cell phone is the best recorder because you always have it on you. So don't be afraid of recording with your cell phone. I will start, and the way that I will try to categorize my sounds is that I will do some percussive sounds, short sounds like when I'm clapping or hitting something, and the other group, which can be a bit more tricky to find, which is notes, sounds that you can actually play chords or make melodies with. But I will show you what I mean. So my first sound is gonna be a beer, and this can both be a percussive sound, but it can also be a harmonic sound. So let's start with making it a percussive sound. I will simply grab my tools and I will hit it and make sure that I'm not distorting. So that was some of the percussive sounds that I could achieve from the beer bottle. But let's try to make a note, a harmonic sound. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blow away from the mic, not directly into it. Let's try. The next source is gonna be a glass, and this is a very silent source, so I'm gonna try to get as close to the microphone as possible. In this example, I will try to make the note as long as possible so I can kind of use it as a pad. So let's continue. So a pot. And remember also to use different sizes. Okay, so I will go to the studio and try to make a song using these samples. So now I have recorded all of my samples, and then the next step is to make them ready to play with. So this is a very boring process, and to be honest, I hate this process. I think I will start to figure out where all of the hits are and delete what I certainly know that is not going to be used, and delete that before I go to each individual hit. So okay, so that was some of speaking directly in. And here we have something. And because I know we don't have very many harmonic samples, then right away I will move these to a new track, which is, I will call them tonal. And that was a harmonic sound. More speaking. Oh, glass. The next source is going to be a glass, and this is a very silent source. So I will delete me speaking, and I will also, this is tonal, and I can see that this is too. This is 2, but I think this is too short. And I will delete. So my preferred way now is to simply just cut everything that's in between. I think this is the most efficient. That's a nice sound. I think this was a lemon. So what I do now is that I load drum rack into a new MIDI track. I simply just drag it to nothing and then it will create its own MIDI track. And then I choose all of my samples and open my drum rack and simply, this is my favorite part, drag and drop. And we'll now see that we have too many, it looks like. So let's see what are the last ones. And let's compare it with these. Okay, so I think it's kind of alright. So now the next step, which is also very funny, is to do it very thorough. We are dealing with time instruments, so we have to make sure that they play when we want them to play. So I go to every sound and then I make sure that the start hit is where it should start. So next. Yes, so the next time maybe don't make that many, Johan. And the more precise I make it, the easier it is to play with. And how I select them is simply I press the keyboard. And one I'm playing is the one that shows on the screen. And I will of course make this sample pack free to download, but I think you should make your own because there's just something about making your own that you will do it in a way that only you will do it, and that's what makes everything brilliant. Okay, so I got through all of the drums and here they are. Okay, so what I do is I simply sit down and play with the sounds to figure out what I can do. And what I like to do when it's percussive sounds is to try to make some short sequences, make some grooves, make some loops, and simply just by playing, now I'm just playing on my keyboard. And I really like to do this on my keyboard because then I can do so many things at once instead of drawing and then, oh, maybe blah, blah, blah. And when I do, I just seem to do much more and play more. And then I also notice when I have a dead sound, but before we try to make a song with these samples, let's try to make some tonal samplers. I also like this, even though there's like this irregularity. But when I sample, I don't try to find anything perfect, because what is perfect? That's just what everybody else does. And I want to make my own perfect. And that involves doing something that no one else does, at least most of the time. So let's start with this. I will simply load in 3 like this. I simply just drag it to an empty space and then it will automatically make its own MIDI track. So I have loaded the simpler, which is down here, and then I just drag down here and now I can kind of play with it. I like to not use the warp function. Sounds amazing. I will do this with the others. And again, unwarp. Okay, so this one has like this clicking sound, and there are 2 options that I can do. Either I can make it start before, but if I wanted to start right on, then I can also adjust the attack, just like with a synthesizer. Okay, so I will continue and find the glass. And then we have 3 of those too. So just like with the others. And in this instance, because we only have 6 sounds, I will actually name them. So the first was like bottle, glass, again unwarp. And let's trim this. Wow, this is magical. Unwarp. Ah. The next. Unwarp. But now they are not in tune. So what I will do is that I will load a helm, which I know is in tune. And then I will load one of the others that I want to tune. So, and you can hear these 2 don't play the same note. And since I know that the synthesizer is in tune, I'm gonna transpose and detune the sampler until it fits. And I go to control and now you can hear that it's in tune. I could also load in a tuner and play a C. And if I really want to fine tune it, yeah, it says a C when I'm playing a C. So let's go on to the next. So controls. Next. Yes. And to the glass. And this is Yes, this is perfect. Next. So now I have some sounds. Okay, so now I have tuned my instruments and I'm kind of ready to figure out how they sound. I think I will give it some more release. Because when I stop turning the glass, which I did in this, then it kind of fades out. So let's try with the bottom. Maybe I should an octave up. Again, I will give it some release. Wow. It sounds like a really nice synthesizer, I think. But what we can also do is to make a filter. And we can control this with an envelope. So just with a synthesizer, we can open it up. And I will give it some release. Or we could do it the other way around, so it kind of do like this. That also really worked well. It became a whole nother sound. But now when we are playing with the envelope, we can also try to do something else. But we could like make it a percussive sound. We could make it more like a pad. And if you also combine the filter so it kind of opens up. Next step is to make a song. I went and found a random BPM 144 and I made a simple beat. So from here let's do something. Let's do some chords. Okay, this was kind of random and a mistake, but So do something new by using new sounds that you find at your home. It's very simple and very basic, and for me it's just this experience of doing something, working with sound that I kind of know, that reminds me of so much, but that I really have no clue about how it works. When I started making this song, it took me extremely long time because I couldn't just do what I normally do because it was kind of a new set of sounds. So I really had to go and explore to figure out what worked for me. And in this way I have made something that I have never made before, and this has really been a journey for me. So I can only recommend to go and make your own sounds and don't be limited by not having the perfect instruments or whatever. Because it's not about having the right gear, it's more about having a really good and healthy imagination. You can sample everything and everything can be turned into kind of everything too. So there are so many options, so it's all about just trying. Hopefully this will inspire you to try some more yourself. And as always, if you like this video, then please go and hit the thumbs up button and consider to subscribe to my channel. It would truly make me happy. Enjoy. You keep me clean and rarely complain without a word, round and round, round and round, faster than my eyes just living your own life. I never really felt the need to worry about you. You don't lie or cheat, you don't try to manipulate with me. When I don't read your signals, you're shaking the apartment, scaring the cats away. You're my everyday helper. You keep turning. Round and round, you keep turning. You're never going anywhere, you're just waiting to be replaced. But in the darkness, it must feel lonely. You always seems to be okay. You barely break into a sweat. Round and round. It's time for you to take a nap. Machine of destructions when I don't read your signals. It's time for you to take a nap. You have nothing on your mind, you are without emotions. It's time for you to take a nap. I'm happy that you're here, naive and reliable.